Well, the playoffs are back in Toronto sports. The Raptors and Leafs on the comeback. The Raptors up 2-0 against the Washington Wizards. And the Leafs finally win a game against the Boston Bruins. James Price, your host. I'm Evan Brown. What do you think of the Raptors? Because we're obviously going to start with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Taking care of business.
Hey, you know what? Coming into the series, Wizards fans make me laugh. They're like, oh, let's sweep them like we did back in 2015. Yeah, first off, win a game and then talk to me.
I thought that the Raptors were going to be in more of a, not a trouble situation, but I didn't think they're going to be this good against a team where they did kind of struggle with. And I was that mode of, with the whole 2015 thing, but, same type of core, but they performed.
And what I said in my video is it's making the big punch, making that big run when it needs to happen. When you need to make that big run. And then in the first two games, the Raptors made that big punch with under 8 minutes to play in the fourth quarter, right till the end of the game, and the Wizards couldn't counteract that, and they lose. Yesterday, perfect example, Raptors get the big lead early, and they're on a roll at the half, they're killing everybody.
And the Wizards came
came right back and made it a 10-point game after 3, and eventually made it a 5-point game, but then C.J. Miles with a crazy 3, and here comes the Raptors' big run. They get it up to 18 at one point, and it's over by then. It's when the runs matter, and the Raptors did that.
Yeah.
Instead of getting it at the end of the third quarter, they get it in the fourth when it really matters.
Exactly. And in Game 1, it was the whole bench that was the star of the show.
Yeah.
But in Game 2, it was DeMar DeRozan, 37 points.
And Kyle Lowry also with a double-double as well. 13?
And Bradley Beal's struggling.
Really bad.
Really
you know what? He's a guy that talks a lot of smack. So to have him be very quiet after this game, it's nice.
It proves something.
Because he only had 9 points. He shot a ridiculously awful percentage. He was like a minus 34 when he was on the floor or something like that. He was atrocious. And he took very stupid fouls, too. Fouling jump shots.
He had 5 fouls? Right?
Yeah, I think it was 5 fouls. Yeah. And he was fouling jump shots. And that's not the way you want to do it. Especially DeMar. I think he took a 3, and then he had a 4-point play on a stupid play by Bradley Beal.
Yeah, you don't want to foul somebody. I mean, and it looked like a foul too, right? It wasn't like a contested shot.
Well, he's going to complain because he always does, but I mean, obviously. It doesn't really matter. The Raptors come away with the victory, and that's really all that matters in the end. And now they head to Washington for games 3 and 4, and I think the key is
at least take. It'd be nice if you sweep them.
It'd be nice,
but at least take one because you don't want to be tied going back to Toronto.
No, you don't want to be in that. You don't want to be honestly, and I think Game 3 is the big one, right?
I think so too.
Because you look at the way the Bruins are placed right now for the Leafs, right? The Bruins won their 2 at home, like the Raptors did. They lost the first one on the road.
It's going to be a whole.
And now it's a very different feel to the series. Mm-hmm. And if the Raptors lose Game 3 to the Wizards in Washington, it's a different feel.
And then if they lose Game 4, that's a.
Well, it's a split. You still have home court, but you're really grinding it down. You don't
have the momentum at all going to Toronto.
No.
Right?
So I think winning Game 3, I think, is a big one for the Raptors. I understand you don't really... It's not a must win, but to keep Raptors fans sane, I think that's the key, is to get the Raptors up 3-0.
Yeah, and I think this was Game 2. Drake was chirping John Wall a little bit, and
Kelly Oubre called him a bum. I love it.
Kelly Oubre called him a bum.
No, other way around.
Oh.
Drake called Kelly Oubre a bum.
I was going to say, Drake would be like, I'm sorry, who's Kelly Oubre calling me a bum? But it was the other way around.
That's great, though, because, he is a bum. Kelly Oubre...
he's the type of guy to really get under your skin.
Well, he hasn't yet. No. He hasn't done anything really crazy special, so he's been very quiet, like Bradley Beal.
And having Drake as the quote-unquote ambassador of the Raptors, it helps us.
Oh, it really does.
It puts us on the map, for one thing.
Yeah,
and I think Drake gets into the players' heads a little bit. Washington's. You never know.
He starts talking a bunch of smack. I remember in the regular season.
I don't know if his smack talks that, potent.
I don't know.
But it's coming from Drake.
It was this year sometime. I forgot who it was against. But they were inbounding the ball basically right in front of Drake. And he's just talking smack in his ear. Didn't stop. Just started ripping into him.
Yeah.
And then it was a violation in the Raptor ball.
That was against Chicago.
Was it Chicago?
I think
it was Portis or something. I'm not sure exactly who it was.
It was last season, I think. Oh, yeah, it was Portis. Yeah, you're right. I think it was last season. And then, he got a, I don't know if it's 4-second, 5-second violation?
Yeah, it was something along those lines. And it was great. So having him there is great. But the Raptors, hey, they do their job. They take care of business.
And they play as a team.
That's the thing, right? We talk about, and everyone in the NBA, everybody I don't care who you are. If you're not a Raptor fan and you think of the Toronto Raptors, who do you think of? You think of DeRozan and Lowry.
Well,
that's it. No. You think of DeRozan and Lowry.
Well, you can argue that with any team in the NBA.
Right.
When you think of Golden State, Steph Curry and Durant, the big four.
Well,
and maybe you have a player on the bench that's performing, but we don't really know about because we don't watch Golden State. You can say that about any team, right? So I don't agree with you on that statement.
I don't know about
James
Golden
Price.
State, dude.
Well,
you're talking about that.
That's just
they have
off
four
the top
guys.
of my head. That's just off the top of my head. But I'm just saying, like with any team, right? You have the guys on the bench that if you don't watch them play, you don't see, okay, well they're only averaging, let's just say, 6 points per game. But if you actually watch them play, they're a huge help to the team. But we don't know about them because we don't watch them.
When you think of the Toronto Raptors, you think of Lowry and DeRozan. Am I wrong?
You think about that with any team, though.
I'm not saying you don't.
Yeah, but yes, you do, because they're the main 2-star guys.
Right. And that's what the Wizards come into. We're like, we're just going to bottle up, we're going to bottle up DeRozan and Lowry, and we're going to make other guys beat us. And you know what's happening? The other guys are slaughtering them.
But see, I don't know why I don't know if they're necessarily thinking that, because going into the season, Washington knows we have the best bench in the league. So why would they just be targeting?
Well, clearly they're doing a horrific job defensively on our other guys then.
But if they're thinking that,
they're doubling Lowry and giving OG wide open threes, and he's done terrific so far in the playoffs.
Maybe he thinks he's a rookie, I know.
Almost has 2 double-doubles in the first 2 games, and he was a plus 32 on the floor last night.
Right. I don't think Washington's that stupid just to bottle up the main 2 guys, because we've seen all this season that the Raptors are dangerous when it comes to their bench. So I don't think the Wizards would think like that.
Well, maybe.
But if they are, fire their coach.
Scott Brooks, former Oklahoma City coach.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just like,
I know.
Because you look in Game 1, they were bottling up DeRozan and Lowry, and then Serge Ibaka comes out and fires 23.
You always have someone else step up. And that's what the Raptors have been doing all this season.
Kind of reminds me of the Blue Jays. They have there's a lot.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah, a little bit
later.
later.
Third segment, but great news. What do you feel about? I'm just looking at the other series around the league. Cleveland falling to Indiana, or do you still want to talk about the Raptors a little bit?
We can keep going for the Raptors for a little bit longer here.
Okay.
It's just.
Is there anything else to prove, or is it?
I guess a development. I guess we could talk about a little bit is that Fred VanVleet got into the game very minimal amount of time yesterday.
I was going to say that because he missed Game 1.
He missed Game 1, and everyone's like, he's available to play Game 2. Great, he'll be back in lineup, normal spot.
What injury
and he goes
did he
out. It was a shoulder.
Okay.
And I was on a big tough screen by Bam Adebayo on the Miami Heat in the last game of the year. Yeah, and he came out yesterday,
right?
And he got on the floor, and he just didn't look right. He looked very tentative. He didn't really look smart. He didn't look like regular Fred VanVleet. So what did Casey do? The smart move, and just put him on the bench and let him, give him some more time.
Shoulder?
Yeah.
You shoot with your shoulder, so you go, right?
I'm just saying, because
I know.
he was cleared to play, but he just didn't look right out there, so you ride the team that's playing well.
And you really need him against the 8th seed Wizards when we're already up, 1-0 at this point.
Right.
I'm
happy that Casey did what he did. I mean, a lot of people are going to say, well, why don't you just put Fred out in the last bit of the game? Well, we don't know if he was still sore. We don't know if that was still a case.
And wouldn't that be terrible if he
came out late in the game in a meaningless game, and then he gets hurt even more. And then he's out for the first round, or God forbid, worse.
Kind of the whole Derrick Rose situation where he was out last 5 minutes against the 76ers when he played with the Bulls and he tore his Achilles or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen with Fred VanVleet.
No. He's such a great young talent. You don't need
At this point, I can see if you're in the second round against Cleveland or whoever, or a team that matches up better to you than the Wizards, put him out there. But now you don't need him, so why flirt with an injury?
Yeah, you don't need to.
No.
I mean, the way this team was playing in Game 1, the way they were playing to start the game, you really didn't need him out there. It would have been nice to have him out there, regular Fred VanVleet, of course, but when you have DeLon Wright performing the way he had in the first 2 games so far, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing. Him and CJ Miles have been on fire off the bench, and we talked about it in the round 1 preview on the channel about CJ Miles needing to be big for this team to
gain momentum.
Just to put them over the top. You need that sharpshooter somewhere on the team.
Because we don't have it besides CJ Miles. Like that sharpshooter.
You could say Lowry's a great 3-point shooter. He was rough in the second game
but
there.
Is he consistent in the playoffs?
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, but what Lowry gave you last night was incredible. I mean, my goodness. I mean, yeah, he only had 13 points and he didn't shoot the ball great. And everyone's going to look at that and say, oh, here's playoff Lowry back in normal form. No, he had, 7 rebounds and 10 assists, or 12 assists, something along those lines. And he took a couple charges. His hands were all over the place on the defensive end. I mean, he was playing terrific.
Right.
He was just fantastic last night. And this is the team overall. They played really, really well, especially DeMar DeRozan digging in late defensively was stellar.
And I'm so happy that the Raptors finally got the first game 1 win under their belt.
And it's the first time in franchise history they've had a 2-0 series lead in the damn series.
I didn't know that stat. Are you serious?
I found out last night.
Well, that just says a lot of things.
Another franchise record for the Raptors that they continue to break.
Yeah, well, it's pretty easy to break that, I would think. I didn't know that was that bad, going up 2-0 and still having that. Yeah.
There you go.
But
I mean, the Raptors have been so bad at winning game 1.
They play when next? Friday? I'd imagine.
Yeah, Friday.
Friday in Washington is going to be a tough game, in my opinion.
It is. I mean, I think
besides game 1, this is going to be the second toughest game.
The Wizards are going to come out flying because they're playing for their lives at this point, and they're at home.
Because no team wants to go down 3-0.
No, I don't care.
And they're at home too.
1 versus 8, 4 versus 5 doesn't matter. They're going to fight.
It doesn't matter if they were 3-7 in their last 10 going
into the playoffs. Right? And I think they lost 4 straight going into the playoffs, or maybe something like that.
They lost 1.
Oh, okay, okay, but they've been playing really bad. Plus, they lost these 2 in the playoffs. They really have not been playing good basketball. And you look at their starters compared to ours, right? And I think that's something we talked about all year round about the bench being so good and the bench being everything.
Well.
The starters were okay, but they were all like +3 on the floor.
You can argue that Bradley
-2.
feels better than Lowry. I agree with that. I don't think he's much better, but I think he is better.
John Wall has been their best player, no question about it.
Well, that's
no question about it.
Well, is that really a surprise? No.
Well, I think Bradley Beal should have a say in that, but he's been awful.
Well, John Wall is this team. John Wall is the Washington Wizards, but then you go to this. They still have Marcin Gortat starting.
That's what I wanted to get to. I mean, the Raptors starters with JV working it last night, DeRozan and Lowry doing their thing, Ibaka pitched in, OG was great, and then you look at them, like we talked about earlier, about Bradley Beal doing absolutely nothing.
Otto Porter's starting power forward.
Right, and how did he do last night? Because I'm pretty sure he had an awful game too. I didn't really see him much out there.
He had 12 minutes or 12 points in 25 minutes, 2 rebounds.
I mean, nothing. Whatever.
A role player.
Whatever. I mean,
yeah.
But then you look at Gortat. When this guy gets working, he's a pretty good player.
He gets working.
But last night he was atrocious.
And then JV worked him.
He had so many, like a putback layup, nobody even around him, and it rims out. I mean, there's 2 or 3 of those that should have gone down, and he misses them blatant. It was awful for Gortat.
See, you can argue that Marcin Gortat is a more physical player than JV, and I do agree with that, because once Marcin Gortat gets on a roll, he can body.
If he does.
I know, but I'm pretty much saying that. And that's what you saw in game 1 a little bit.
Well,
and he got and he did get into a little bit of a streak, right?
Yeah.
But in game 2, like you said, JV bodied him. JV had, 19 points?
19 points, 14 boards, and he had 12 and 12 at the half.
Yeah, Marcin Gortat had, 2 points?
He didn't get anything.
Oh.
Goose egg. Oh, okay. Nothing.
That's like a Roy Hibbert.
Yeah, I mean, he was awful.
Yeah.
And when the Raptors have that, I mean, the only person I'm worried about, other than John Wall and Bradley Beal and them, is Mike Scott, and he's been great off the bench for them. I mean, he had 20 in the game last night on 7 of 10 shooting and 4 of 5 from 3. He was great, and
he's coming off the bench.
in game 1 he had 14. So on 7 of 10 shooting as well.
Even Markieff Morris a little bit. He's always kind of one of those.
He's streaky. He's very streaky. I mean, I think in today's game, yesterday he was 3 of 7 shooting, 0 of 2 from 3, and a -31 on the floor.
Are you worried about Ty Lawson, the signing of Ty Lawson?
I don't think he'll be too much of an impact. I mean, he was good. Don't get me wrong. He was good in the game.
I think he may be an impact if this series goes
to 6 or 7 games. But the Raptors, I don't think we're thinking about him too much. You
don't want to think about Ty Lawson and.
I don't know. I just feel like the Raptors.
And 31 because he started game 2.
He did.
Well, he played 31 minutes.
Well, I think he came off the bench and played quite a bit because Bradley Beal was so bad.
Oh well, yeah.
Because you look at Bradley Beal,
14 points, 3.
Yeah, Lawson was off the bench at 31 minutes. Oubre had 30.
You could see you could see Ty Lawson, if this game gets to 6 or 7 games, really be a factor. That's what I'm scared of because Ty Lawson has that potential. Oh.
I'm not too
You
worried
don't think
about
so? About Ty Lawson?
Well, I mean, I feel like he's going to have an impact, but do I think he's going to put the Raptors away?
No, well, I didn't say that.
Okay, well then...
I didn't say put away. I said he'll have a huge impact if this series gets to 6 or 7 games.
I don't think it will.
You don't think? Okay.
I think at most it's going to get 5. I think the Raptors are going to at least win one on the road.
So you think this
and I think if they come back home, depending on if they sweep them or not, I think the win at home, and that'll be it. I don't think it'll go to 6. Because if it goes to 6, you could possibly go 7. Because
and if it goes 7, you never know, because now it's even. Right now it's 100%. It's on the Raptors. It's on the Raptors side right now, and if we can split this series, of course we both like a sweep. But
I think we all would, just to kind of give them the taste of their own medicine.
But realistically, I think that we're going to split the series in Washington and win back at home. I agree with you, sir.
That's
Raptors in 5.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to win 1. But
you can't take this team lightly.
No, you got to take it game by game.
Yeah.
And the Raptors did their thing at home. They did what they got to do. Now they hit the road. So let's go around the NBA a little.
Let's go around the NBA. Are you surprised that the Philadelphia 76ers are still not playing Joel Embiid? He has a concussion, right?
Yeah,
And Joel obviously
has injury history.
Well, yes. So I don't see anything wrong. He's mad. He's posting all over Instagram his story. Oh, whatever. He's obviously mad. But again,
my opinion is keep that to yourself. Don't let the media start getting a hold of that stuff.
No, exactly. Because Joel, what's that going to do with you posting all this on Instagram? It's not going to do anything. The 76ers are doing the right thing and resting Joel Embiid. He has a history of being injury prone.
Oh yeah, big time. He came out right out of college and didn't play for the first 2 years of.
And then he got hurt his second year or his third year, or for half the season. He was hurt this season, so I don't see anything wrong with him. Not even when the 76ers lost that game against the Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade put on an absolute show.
And you can't expect that every night from Dwayne Wade.
You
can't expect that
at this age.
No, you can't.
Yeah, no,
you can't.
I don't expect that. So I see no problem with the actual organization, 76ers organization, resting Joel Embiid. He's not happy about it.
I don't know how much longer they're going to have to wait. I think if they lose the next game, they might figure it out.
Yeah.
They might say, okay, we need him back in there. Get in there and do your thing.
But right now, I think they're playing it smart. Because it's a tie series, but I can't.
Well, Miami took away their home court. Now they have to go back to Miami, so it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens in that series. Everyone's saying, Philadelphia is going to run right through Miami, but we saw what the Miami Heat did against the Raptors this year. They were really, really tough to beat all season, and I think the Raptors lost the season series to Miami. So.
Okay.
That's why, seeing Philly go in there and beat them in Game 1, and everyone's thinking, it's going to be a cakewalk, and then they lose Game 2, everyone's kind of taking a double take, like, whoa, okay.
Well, you have to see that winning 16 straight going into the playoffs with everybody healthy is
except for Embiid.
Except for Embiid going into Game 2 would be a... but this is where other people have to step up, maybe.
And that's what we're talking about the Raptors, having these other guys. Having all these other players to chip in and help you win. Game 1, the Raptors weren't the greatest, but you had Serge Ibaka fire up 23. When you have those other guys that can chip in, it's great.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't really see the 76ers really having an issue. Even with Embiid out, I still think they can overpower with all the rookies they have.
I think so, too. They're very talented.
The shooting of J.J. Redick, for sure.
And Ben Simmons as well is nuts.
For sure. Boston with Kyrie Irving-less going up 2-0 against the Milwaukee. I'm sorry, but
Milwaukee's in shambles. He's just not. They're not really firing on all cylinders. Bledsoe, I don't think he's been the greatest. Their team really, really just has not clicked. Really, all season long. They were always the team that's hovering it. Well, he's been their guy since Kyrie went down, and clearly he's.
Wow, didn't this change your opinions about Milwaukee from the last 2 podcasts?
Yeah, well, I was scared just because they have Giannis, and he did fire up 30. And almost
had a
triple-double. 30 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds on 13 of 17 shooting, but a minus 13 on the floor. That's the big thing.
Game one, that shot by Chris Middleton, I don't know if you saw that, and I think it was, 0.4 seconds left. Yeah. Inbound the ball to him. I think it was almost half court.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
So he had 25 in the game.
But
they didn't have anybody else really that stepped up too much.
I still think Milwaukee's going to take Boston to either 6 or 7. This is not going to be cakewalk, and just knowing that they don't have Kyrie Irving. Yes, Terry Rozier has been good. Eric Bledsoe was.
Now they go back to Milwaukee, and I think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to really fire. They're going to go
just with the team they have. I can't see them fizzling out in the first round. And Boston's been good, and Boston has a lot of depth pieces, obviously, without Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving.
Well, you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, and you talk about big acquisitions that really made this team scary. And Eric Bledsoe is the first name that comes to mind. He was the big acquisition, and in the first 2 games, he has 12 points. in yesterday's game.
Yeah.
In 34 minutes. And in the first game, in 33 minutes, 9. He has not been good.
Well, look who's shutting him down.
Yeah, clearly.
Rozier.
Right. And you got to find other ways to win. And the Milwaukee Bucks are not.
Yeah.
You know, other than Giannis and other than Chris Middleton, they really haven't gotten anything going.
No. Parker has been
He only played 10 minutes in the game yesterday and was 0 for 2, and it was minus 15 while he was on the floor. So he wasn't great. And then you look at Boston, you have Jaylen Brown firing up 30.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, he had a big night, 12 of 22 shooting as well. I mean, he was great. You know, Marcus Morris was great. Tatum had a rough night. But
why would they be starting John Henson over Jabari Parker's...
But I don't know. The Milwaukee Bucks are confusing me right now. They've been confusing me all year long.
But I can't see them exactly like the 76ers, but they're in a worse position. I can't see them fizzling out in the first round with the injury-depleted Boston. But don't let that... Boston is still a very, very scary team, even without Kyrie Irving.
They came number 2 for a reason. I understand they didn't have Kyrie for part of that season, but they had number 2 locked up for a long time.
But I expect a fight out of Milwaukee. I don't expect them to...
No, I don't think it's going to be done yet.
No, exactly. And the most, it's been one game, Indiana and Cleveland.
Yeah. I mean,
Victor Oladipo's on another level. Question for you. Who won that trade with Paul George?
Well, I mean, it's so hard to tell.
I think Paul George is going to resign with the OKC Thunder.
You think so, eh?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Oladipo
has just been on a tear. I mean, all season he's been nuts. He's been a terrific driving force for that team. He averaged 23 points a game on 47% shooting this year. I mean, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
And he averaged 5.2 boards on the season as well for a point guard.
Even with the emergence of Lance Stevenson has worked LeBron hard.
Yeah.
He's worked LeBron hard, but the one thing I don't like about Lance Stevenson is that
it's funny how we talk about him working LeBron hard and really hurting LeBron. Still fires up a triple-double. I mean, but it is LeBron James. I know.
The one thing I don't like about Lance Stevenson is that cut out all of the shenanigans. Like, cut out all the blowing in the ear.
Was it late in the season where he had a big block and then showboated and the ball went right down to their guy and dunked it in?
Cut it out.
Finish the play.
You can. You have the talent to guard LeBron with you being scrappy. But cut out the antics and show a little bit more of, maturity, because you can play basketball. Just play basketball, because you're doing great against LeBron. Cut out the antics, and I think that Indiana will go far.
Yeah, and Indiana holds Cleveland to 80 points. I mean, that's nuts. Kevin Love had 9 points on 3
LeBron
of 8
at
shooting.
home, especially in Quicken Loans Arena, too.
Yep. Well, after LeBron's 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 assists, their next best guy, J.R. Smith, with 15 off the bench. I mean, but other than that, they really didn't have anybody else going. No. And that tells you right there the defense of the Indiana Pacers was terrific. They hold Cleveland to 38% shooting from the field, 24% from 3.
Miles Turner
16 and 8.
Like he always does. I don't know if...
What do you think?
Young had an off night, but go on.
I'm just going to flip here to the Utah and OKC. Now, Utah's a team that I really liked coming into the playoffs. I think they were going to be
rookie of the year.
Arguably the rookie of the year, him or Ben Simmons. That's still
obviously the media wants
still
Simmons.
The debate, of course, because it's Boston, right?
Ben Simmons, Boston, Ben
Philadelphia,
Simmons,
whatever. Yeah. Boston. I don't know what I'm thinking. But I think I'm thinking Tatum for Boston.
Mm-hmm.
But tonight's got some crazy matchups. We got Indiana, Cleveland. OKC and Utah,
yes,
and then Minnesota and Houston. And game 1, Minnesota-Houston was a very good game there. As it was only a 3-point game, 104-101. Houston won that at home. Look, Minnesota's like a team that scares me, man. They have a very good team.
They don't scare me.
Why Houston they came? At all. Well, no, I'm not saying against Houston, but I'm saying in general they're a very good team. Wiggins, Cat, Jimmy Butler.
Yes, but I can't see them making any noise in the playoffs.
I'm not saying they are, but I'm just saying they're a team that could push,
this
Houston.
season.
No, I'm not saying the season. I'm just saying they could push Houston. I'm not saying they're going to beat them. I'm not even going to say they're going to win a game, but they're going to push them.
I don't think they're going to push them. I think Houston's going to take care of business against because going into the playoffs, Minnesota, they won 3. They barely made it. Because what they were
facing Denver.
Nuggets.
They faced Denver in the last game and they beat them.
I can see them winning 1, and that's it.
I don't expect them to beat them.
I don't think they'll even push them.
Well, they lost by 3 in game 1.
I don't think they'll even push them. James Harden's look unbelievable with Chris. I honestly think James Harden is my MVP of the year.
Oh, no question about it. No question about it. He's the MVP, and everyone's going to say, oh, LeBron. And he's had his best year. But
he's on another level, James
he
Harden.
had 44, and having Clint Capella at 24. But other than that, I mean, Capella at 14, and nobody else really did anything. Ariza was awful. PJ Tucker, I mean, Raptor fans remember him. He's streaky. And Eric Gordon was awful off the bench.
You don't look at PJ Tucker. You mainly
look
for
defense. Yeah, I know.
Their bench too.
But it was a tight game in Game 1.
But this is what Minnesota needs. A young, playoff-less team needs, a little bit of a wake-up call. And next year, I think they'll be better and back than ever than this season.
And we didn't really talk about Utah and OKC. What do you think? Because I think Oklahoma City leads the series 1-0 right now. But hey,
I think OKC potentially can make it to the Western Conference Finals.
I agree. I think there's no question about it. I think with the talent they have, I think they can do it. Will they? Well, that's remained to be seen, I guess.
And Carmelo's looked...
He looked great, I think, in Game 1. I think he was terrific in Game 1.
He was okay in Game 1. 15.7 rebounds.
That's a solid performance for a veteran guy like that.
Yeah, it is.
Was good.
And you're looking at Carmelo, too. But
and then you look at the last game before we... or I guess we can... Sure, you want to talk about Golden State and San Antonio?
Well, second last game, because we got also the Pelicans.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you want to talk about San Antonio and Golden State? Really, I think just Golden State's going to run right through them.
And the whole Kawhi Leonard thing a little bit is looming over their heads, because... They obviously thought Kawhi Leonard was a franchise, can lead the franchise, but Kawhi isn't like that. I don't think Kawhi's very vocal. He's not vocal at all. He's not vocal.
I think there was a thing that said that they don't hear much from maybe a text once in a while from their teammates. He doesn't say much at all.
But he's like that. And he's known as more of a role guy, like, not a role guy, I should say, like somebody you necessarily build around, yes, but you don't kind of rely on to somebody to tell you what to do, like a LeBron James, like a Westbrook,
like Lowry, even.
Okay.
I mean, I think he tells a lot of the young guys what to do, where to go, that
going
kind of
back
thing.
to the Raptors. I know you're doing that, but
of course, this is TO SportsTalk podcast, so
I know, but just they have the wrong mentality, and you can't change what because he's just a quiet guy. He's just a quiet guy, and they're looking obviously to trade him. He's out for the entire playoffs now. Yeah. Again. So it's a sad thing.
I just think Golden State's just going to run right through them. 4 straight.
I'm a huge Kawhi Leonard fan. But
I think everybody is. I mean, he's just a great all-around player.
And he's not cocky, and he's a quiet guy. And, yeah.
Yeah. I think Golden State's just going to run right through them and go 4-0. I think it's going to be bad.
I don't think it's going to be 4-0.
You think they're going to actually win a game? Without Kawhi Leonard?
Without Steph?
They haven't had a problem so far.
It's 1 game. I think
2 games, dude. It's 2-0.
Oh, 2-0. I think they'll win 1. I can't. Again, they're without. I could see if they had Steph, yeah, but they're without.
They still have Durant, Clay, Draymond.
I
mean, my goodness.
No, I know, but I could see them at least win 1. This is the San Antonio's, Spurs. We're talking.
I
about.
understand
you
that, but you don't have Kawhi Leonard. And
but it's
who
not
else
like
do they have other than Aldridge?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's of Manu Ginobili has really stepped up in the last.
My goodness, at his age,
I don't think they're going to sweep. It's hard to sweep any team in the playoffs. I think they'll win 1 or 2, maybe 2, but definitely 1, in my opinion.
Well, I think they're going to get swept.
Okay,
that's going to be it.
And then the final series that no one's really talking about.
No.
The New Orleans Pelicans I don't know what's going on
against the Portland Trailblazers. And I like a lot of people, I think
is this the 4-5 match?
I actually think this is 3-6, I think.
Who's 6? Oh.
Pelicans, I think, are 6.
I don't understand.
Yeah, 3-6.
I don't really understand this to be...
But to be fair, all that is separated by 1 game. So it's not like there's a big gap between those teams anyways.
So it's pretty much like a 4-5 kind of deal here.
Right. And the Pelicans win both games on the road in Portland. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum had not been good in the first 2 games. McCollum, his best game was yesterday at 22 points. He had 19 in the first game.
Drew Holiday...
he had a ridiculous night last night. Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, you can't forget about Rajon Rondo's always hectic guarding, especially on defense.
1 assist from a triple-double for Rondo last night.
Well, from Rondo, it's all about the defense. It's all about the guarding, and Rondo's really good.
He was a plus 17 on the floor. Anthony Davis doing his thing, 22 points, 13
The brow's going to be the brow.
He better not shave that thing. I think there was talk earlier in the year about him shaving that thing.
That was an April Fool's joke.
Oh, okay.
That was an April
I'm
Fool's
glad
joke.
It was, because that's sickening. That cannot happen.
Yeah.
I know. And what do you think with this series? Do you think Portland's going to come back in New Orleans and find a way to get back in the series? But this is going to be tough now.
This was their first. I think it was their first franchise playoff win.
I think so. The New Orleans Pelicans. I think so. Yes.
No.
The Hornets.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah, you're right. I'm pretty sure the Hornets won a playoff.
They probably did, but
Pelicans.
either way,
yeah, but good for New Orleans. But
it's great to see Anthony Davis in the playoffs. It's really great after all these years and being healthy. It's great.
And without Boogie, people were just saying because they weren't even in a playoff spot they were in 10th place I think at one point in the West.
And they went on a little roll, and then Boogie got hurt, and they're like, well, that's it.
And then they kind of dropped a little bit, which is
but then they went on a tear to end the season,
tail.
5 wins in a row to end the year. I mean, that's how you go into the playoffs, and then they've won 2 straight against Portland here, who was kind of struggling going into the playoffs, 5-5 heading into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think this.
What do you think? I mean, I don't know. What do you think? New Orleans is going to go back home and take care of business? Do you think Portland's going to come out flying and get some wins?
This is Portland. This is Damian Lillard. He's clutch.
Possible MVP candidate. I mean,
I could see them. I love New Orleans, but I could see them going back to Portland and splitting it.
It's funny because we talk about Damian Lillard being the MVP, and he really didn't perform at all in the first 2 games. Didn't even touch 20 points. Shot under 40% in both games. Yeah. 1 of 7 from 3 last night. 4 of 9, which is pretty good in the first game. But really, not the Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum we're used to seeing. And here come the DeMar and Kyle talks with McCollum and Lillard. Well, they can't perform in the playoffs. There you go. There's all that talk now.
Yeah, but this is I'm so happy for the Pelicans because going into the actual offseason, DeMarcus Cousins' contract's up. I don't know if he's going to stay but maybe he's seeing, well, this team without me can possibly make it to the second round of the playoffs.
Him and Anthony Davis on the inside just still scares the heck out of me.
I can't see him why he won't re-sign with the Pelicans. Right? Well, small market team, but
we're going to have to wait and see.
Exactly.
So real quick before we wrap it up, Raptors get back in action Friday night, 8 p.m. tip-off in Washington. Game 3. Raps look for the 3-0 series lead.
And they do it.
Hey, we're going to have to wait and see.
But do you think that they're going to win Game 4 or Game 3?
Oh, God, I don't know. I think they're going to win one of them. I don't know which one.
Fair enough.
I think Washington they're going to come out.
I think we're going to split going back into Toronto and winning Game 5.
That's what I think's going to happen, but hey, I'd be pleasantly surprised
Friday
if they
at
find
7?
a way to sweep. 8.
In the Verizon Center.
At the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Now,
to the ice.
To more playoffs. But to the ice this time, like you said. The Leafs, we're going to start with them, of course. The Leafs, they finally get a win. I mean, my goodness.
They needed it badly.
Yeah.
Those 2 games, I didn't watch the one on Saturday, thank goodness.
Good.
No, you did.
Oh, my God.
But where do we even begin? Where do we even begin with this team? Because I don't know if I'm happy they won, but I don't know if I'm in yet. Quite yet.
Well, no, I don't think anybody is right now.
Because even the win against Boston on the Monday there.
The 4-2 win, yeah.
We still struggle at points.
Yeah, but
take the win and be happy about it. I get it,
it's the playoffs. You got to take wins for what they are.
Yeah.
And the Bruins, they outplayed the Leafs hardcore in the first 2 games. The Leafs, I mean, you can arguably say, oh, the calls were crap, the referees were garbage. Okay, well, yes. But you can also say in Game 3 at the Air Canada Center, the referees were not the greatest.
Against Boston, because that was not delayed game.
No, it wasn't. But then you can go back to the Marchand goal in Game 1, the first goal of the series. It was offside.
They didn't review it.
They didn't review because it was so close, but it was offside. Mm-hmm. So there's a missed call there. So everyone's talking about...
It kind of evens it out a little bit, right? I think.
Right.
And the one thing that I want to talk about is Thomas Buchanan's play.
He was
Game
great.
3. This was... I think he got 1 secondary assist, but this was his best game of the Leaf. He worked David Krejci and Brad Marchand. He was feisty with him. He was cross-checking them to a certain extent. He didn't get penalized for it, but he was pushing them. He was working them hard.
And also Zach Hyman hip-checking Brad Marchand was quite nice as well.
And also, I think with Charlie McAvoy slew-footing Hyman. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. And also, did you see Brad Marchand at the end of the game taking the shot after the whistle? Morgan Riley goes and hits him, and then he swings his stick like a fucking baseball bat.
Same thing with Phil Kessel against the John Scott thing, kind of one of those flashes, right?
And there's no need for that.
But I think for Thomas Buchanan to actually thrive, he needs a bigger role, and he proved that. He was playing second line in the third period.
Yep.
He was on Marlowe and
Mitch
Marner's line.
Yep. And clearly that line worked nicely.
So
Marleau with a couple goals, Riley with, or Mitch Marner with a
he-
couple assists, and I want to quickly say something before you get to your thing.
Yep,
you were going to say.
go ahead.
Plekanec with an assist, and he was a +2. You go to the other side. Who are they matched up against? So name one name first.
Are you talking about the second line?
The line that Plekanec was lined up with the entire game.
What line?
Marchand, but you were just saying how they
matched
shut
up
them
with-
down.
Oh, well, that was Krejci too. He was matched up with the second, so I don't know which line you're talking
Well,
about.
I think they were matching up with Plekanec with Bergeron and them. They were
Well, I saw
they
in your
took
video,
Matthews
you
off
already,
that.
yeah, they had all 0
Right.
points, they were all minuses. I saw
Right.
that. I saw that.
And then Plekanec was a +2 with an assist.
Well, Pasternak could have got that goal, but an unreal save by Freddie.
Could have.
I know, and that's the word here. But and Dom Moore looked great in his own end.
He was physical. He was having a good time out there.
He looked like Mitch Marner out there with the fancy moves in his own end. He looked good.
And
he didn't get put.
and I remember, I think one time, I don't know what time of the game it was, and it was probably just a nothing play, but he just run the guy over. And he's facing his former team.
So that's maybe a little bit of a
Incentive for him.
Well, he's a journeyman, so he's
Good news for Leaf fans. We're going to see Kadri again.
Yeah, because this game, at the least, is
You'll
going to
see-
go to Saturday. At
Right,
the
and you'll
least.
see him in Game 5, whatever the
Right
series
now,
is.
do we really necessarily need him?
Yes.
We do at a point, but all of our centers look great. I wouldn't put Plekanec on the fourth line again. He's thrived on the third and
Then you
second
move
line.
Kadri. And I think you move Kadri. You keep what's working, and then you slot him in where a line needs work or something.
Maybe Bozak. I don't know if you put Bozak to the fourth line. I don't
It's-
think you do that because
That's Mike Babcock's decision, really.
he's looked.
And everyone
Like
complaining
it
about
goes.
Matt Martin. Guys, you know what? I'm going to talk some. Everyone's talking about, get Matt Martin in there, throw some hits, get in a fight. What does that guy do offensively for the team? Absolutely. I know. It's not for the offense. I know.
So why did you say that?
It's not about flying hits and crushing guys. It's being physical. There's a fine line between crushing guys and being physical, and that's what the Bruins were doing in the first 2 games. They weren't going out headhunting and running at guys and going for flying. They were just more physical on the puck. They wanted the puck more. You get into corners, they're out battling the Leafs. But in Game 3, the Leafs were throwing some hits, but they were being physical in the one-on-one battles in the corners.
I don't like what I'm hearing from this.
Well, what? You don't like
no.
what you're hearing?
This is why I'm going to start off with something, okay? Matt Martin, in my opinion, should have played Game 3.
No.
Okay. And here's the thing. Let's just say Matt Martin, Babcock, Friday, he's like, all right, Matt, you're in Saturday night. He damn well knows not to go over the edge. And if he does...
But what's he going to give you offensively? Nothing.
You don't look for him offensively.
But then he's a waste of his space. Who are you taking out?
You look for something to give energy. You look for something somebody to give you. And at that point, going down 1-0, yes, I think you should have had him in because what's Komarov going to do? He looked minimalistic.
Who do you get rid of? Then?
Komarov.
He's injured. Who do
Yeah,
you get rid
going
of
into
now?
Game 3, Game 2, was he injured? No.
Okay, without Game 3, who are you taking out now?
Well, the Leafs won, so this is a whole different story.
Right.
But I'm saying
Exactly.
But
you didn't need him.
No.
He doesn't do as much as... He'll throw a big hit or two and possibly fight Adam McQuaid or something like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, what is he really going to do? You put out a guy like Don Moore, and you were talking about it just now. About him being such a great defensive player.
But it wasn't working in the first 2 games, so why would you keep with the same lineup?
They didn't. They put out Don Moore. He didn't play Game 2.
Game 2, they threw out Dom Moore.
Really? They put Andreas Janssen in for when Kadri got booed.
I'm talking about Game 2. I'm not talking about Game 3.
I know you're not.
No.
I don't see him on here. Don Moore was not in the game in Game 2.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying.
You just said he was.
I said Game 3 he was, not Game 2. What I'm trying to say is that going into Game 2, it wasn't working. It was flat out not working. Why not dress him? And if things start getting a little iffy with the whole score thing, why not throw him out there? Why not throw him out there? And then at that point, does it matter? At that point, do you not want to see, because you saw what Marchand did to Andreas Janssen in Game 3. Did you not?
Okay, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, so if you have... I'm not saying that it would stop...
That was in Game 3.
I know, but that could happen in Game 2 as well.
You're saying you take out Leo Komarov, right?
Yeah, because
Well, then where's your penalty kill? Matt Martin can't play penalty kill time. He's going to play fourth line minutes, no power play time, no penalty kill time.
did he look like a threat on the? No, he didn't. The whole team didn't.
Well, but he's your guy, though. But who are you going to put on the penalty kill instead of Leo, then?
It's not working. You can throw Connor Brown. You can throw Zach Hyman.
They're already on the penalty kill.
Okay, so you can give Kapanen more time. Heck, you can even throw Marleau. Marleau looks pretty good in his own end.
One guy is not going to revive an entire penalty line.
Exactly, so one guy is not going to diminish the whole thing if you take him out.
Is it really?
No.
Leo Komarov does a lot more than Matt Martin can do for this team.
I know.
But
what I'm saying is that it wasn't working. It wasn't working in Game 1. In Game 2, I don't know why they didn't do any changes, and that didn't work at all. So, I'm trying to say is that Marchand, we all know him with the whole dirty hits and everything like that. It showed against Janssen in Game 3. That looked like, I don't know what that was. Janssen limped off.
I mean, he
stayed in the game.
It's hard to say if that was intentional or not.
It's Brad Marchand.
Well, just because it's Brad Marchand doesn't mean everything's intentional. I understand. I know his reputation.
And against somebody like that, Andreas Janssen, I could see if he hit a big guy, okay, yeah. But Marchand, he's a small guy, he's a feisty guy, so he's going to go after these types of players. Janssen, his first 2 playoff games, he's going to go after him. So having Matt Martin in the lineup, I think would change the momentum a little bit, but it doesn't matter at this point. The Leafs are still down, but they're still in Toronto. They have the momentum on their side, and Patrick Marleau turning back the clock.
He was nuts. He was insane in Game 3.
No, he was. Just that snipe. It was. Yeah. And the whole research about JVR too. It was great. It was unbelievable. And Freddie Anderson, I'm so happy that he got the first star in that game as well.
I'm glad he did, because you look at the first 2 periods, and those 2 goals were awful.
The squeaker by McQuaid.
And then the Chara shot on a ridiculous angle.
That bounced off his.
I think it was his mask.
Something like that.
But man, you got to have that corner covered.
See, this is the whole thing about Freddie. It's like he makes these unbelievable saves at points, and then he can't. He lets in the squeaker.
I hate to bring it up, the Jonathan Bernier. I hate to bring it up, but that's what he used to do.
We're gonna get into him later.
Oh God.
But I don't think the Chara goal was necessarily his fault. I think it was just a weird goal in general. But the McQuaid goal, a shot from the point, it squeaked. He had it too. You gotta
squeeze your legs, man.
You gotta cover it. But going into what are your
I think
tomorrow.
We talked about yesterday's Monday's game or whatever it was, being a must-win, and arguably so. I mean, it was a must-win.
Right.
I think this game is a must-win. There's no question about it. You lose this, you're going back to Boston down 3-1.
And you wanted to say something about Leaf fans saying, "Oh, this isn't this is Bruins fans," or Leaf fans saying Boston didn't have to win this game. Did you want to mention something about that?
Yeah, because a lot of Leaf fans were like, fans in general.
On Twitter, we noticed.
Yeah, there was a lot of Leafs and Bruin fans saying, Boston wasn't a desperate team in this game.
They didn't have to win.
They didn't have to win, so they let up a little bit, and that's why the Leafs won. Are you nuts?
This is a playoff game.
It's a playoff game, and now look what this has done to the Leafs. It's resurged this team. And if the Leafs come out flying in Thursday, everyone's going to be like, oh God. All Bruin fans are going to be thinking that. So yeah, they didn't sit back.
Did you really think Boston going into Monday night's game was like, we don't have to win this game. We're up 2-0. Are you kidding me?
Because the moment you lose one, like they did.
Some fans are just delusional. We're not going to get into names here, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's because what if the Leafs win the next game? After Bruins are like, we just took a game off, we're okay. The Leafs come out in this game, and then they get the win?
That's a joke.
The game's back to even again. It's a best of 3 now.
I know. I'm totally with you on that. I'm totally with you.
I don't know why people would say that. But, look, for the Leafs, I think tomorrow is a must-win.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's a must-win for Boston, too. You don't want to go back to Boston tied.
No. As much as you're okay with it because you're back at home,
And we're Leafs
You had the
fans?
2-0 lead. You had the 2-0 lead, and then you're tied.
Yeah.
You don't want that as a Bruin fan.
Wingles is still out, which doesn't really mean that much. Actually, I think Adam McQuaid got a puck to the face. It rolled up his stick.
And it was funny. I want to talk to you about this. I don't know if you saw it. Jack Edwards, the Boston commentator.
I heard about this. I didn't watch the video.
Right. So, when Andreas Johnsson went down after Marchand's debacle that we talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
A little later on, then when the Bruins came into the zone, they blew the whistle.
Right.
Jack Edwards, the commentator for the Bruins, lost his mind, saying, "This is a playoff game. If this is a pee-wee game, then fine." You know, I'm not going to quote him because I don't really know exactly what he said.
Yeah.
But I mean, then he started losing it. But this is a joke. This is a playoff game. The Bruins were entering the zone. Well, yeah, because the Leafs were so worried about their guy who's down. And then you talk about the Adam McQuaid one, like you brought it up, and that's what made me think of it. The puck went up and ramped into Adam McQuaid's face, hit him in the face, he went down, whistle goes right away, Edwards says nothing.
Because Edwards is a homer. Edwards is one of those commentators that he loves his team, and it doesn't matter. He's always going to be biased towards his team on air, and that's horrible. No commentator should do that. And he's a homer. That's what's called a homer. So it's Jack Edwards. I never liked him. I know you don't like him.
No.
Nobody outside of Boston likes him, so take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't mean anything towards us.
Leafs won 4-2. That's what matters. Really.
And we have another home game. At least another home game left. We can't wait for it. You Leaf fans can't wait for it. It's the atmosphere was crazy. I loved when they said Tuukka. Yeah.
Well, they did it for Anderson, so we said, okay, we'll do it for Tuukka then.
And there you go.
Why not?
And Kapanen, he hit 3 posts already in the whole series.
You know, we talked about him last year, about him in the playoffs and having some luck, obviously, with the goal in Game 81 against Pittsburgh last year. It was a wide-open net. Yeah. He's just going to pat it in. The overtime goal, this double overtime goal last year. Right. Wide-open net to fire it into. This year, he hit a post in Game 2, which could have really turned that game around. That would have tied it at the time. But instead, it was a short-handed breakaway.
What game was this?
Game 2. We were down 1-0. Okay. They had another power play, and we're like, oh, God, it's
this
over.
was on the breakaway, right?
And he gets the short-handed breakaway, and he hits the... He beats Rask.
Yeah.
Rask is down and out, and he hits the post.
Forehand, backhand, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, top shots.
And then he hits it off the post. And we're like, if he scores that, it's tied, and it changes the entire game. But instead, they score 3 more after
and
that.
Then Game 3, I think he was by the circle.
Yeah, and he ripped it off. I mean, he was coming down the right side, I think, with Chara on him, and he just ripped it far side and it ringed it off the post.
I'm ecstatic for this kid. He's going to stay with the Leafs for a long time. I don't care if he hit 3 posts. He hit them. He beat the goalie 3 times. He didn't beat the post, obviously, but...
And Bruin fans would be like, oh, well, we hit so many posts in the game, too. Yeah, well, we did, too.
Rick Nash hit one. Was it Rick or Riley? No, I'm pretty sure it was Rick Nash.
Some Nash.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Kapanen didn't score any of them. You guys hit a lot of posts. You didn't score any of them. Doesn't matter. And yeah, just
I'll say it again. Leafs won 4-2. That's period.
That's it. Looks great.
Yeah, he was great, and Austin Matthews, great to see him break out.
It's funny. I don't know if you saw this.
What he said on his celly.
Yeah. Oh well, I
think we kind of got the gist of it. It was the F-bomb. You Rask, I think I saw, and I'm like, okay, well, Austin. I mean, I like the enthusiasm, but yeah,
no,
not sure about what he says.
It's playoff hockey. It's Leafs first Bruins. You got to say that type of stuff. Brad, you know what I mean.
You got to tell him to get.
You got to say that type. Yeah, exactly. So, we're gonna see Kadri on Saturday. It's gonna be great to see him back. Hopefully. Bruins got to his head in Game 1. That's when he did that stupid hit.
He's got to calm it down. If he's going to make a big hit, make sure it's clean.
But
don't take any risks.
But Wingles elbowing Marner, no call on that. A little bit,
right.
But we saw the calls in Game 3 were a little bit towards the Bruins as well.
Oh, they've been lopsided both ways. It's been a really weird series. Fans, I like it when it's even. I think every hockey fan likes it when it's even.
But and playoffs are a whole different story when it comes to penalties. Let them play to a certain point. You know what I mean? Like don't call the little hooks or whatever, right? Like let them play, and they have, but they've been lopsided, and I'm not sure I like that at all. Well, I like when it's even when it's on our side. You're like,
because when actually the first goal, the delay of game penalty, right. I'm like, as JVR scored, I'm like, great, I love we scored, but I hate that it was on a stupid penalty.
And Bruce Cassidy, he was yelling. Riley Nash was yelling. You can tell that.
Yeah, hey, well, Arm was offside in Game 1. Boop. There you go.
Exactly.
was
So,
that.
but looking, I just want to talk about one more series with hockey, or a couple maybe.
Okay.
The Las Vegas Golden Knights
Wow.
sweeping
Sweeping
the LA
you talked
Kings.
about it in the last podcast. We thought it was going to go 6 or 7, and then
LA.
LA was going to win. They got swept. This Vegas team is legit. I think they've gotten me now.
I think they can make the Western Conference Finals. I think they can run through. Because who would they be? They would be facing the winner of the San Jose Anaheim series. Yes, because Nashville. Because the whole thing about Nashville facing Winnipeg in the second round was a big thing. So it would be the Sharks, the winner of the Sharks and Anaheim.
I think they can beat them.
The Sharks are up 3-0. I wasn't expecting that at all.
No, I wasn't. I think we talked about Anaheim in like 6
Anaheim
or 7.
I said in 7. I don't know if you said 6 or 7, but I said Anaheim in 7. But they could easily, they can easily win. But Vegas is legit. They. Do
you want to run through the series real quick, or do you want to? I know we're cutting close for time, but you want to talk a little bit about the series a little bit here?
We'll do it a little bit.
Okay, so let's start with the teams I see first here. Pittsburgh, Philly. Penguins lead the series 2-1.
Blowouts and all, and in typical Flyer goaltending. First game, he looks awful. Brian Elliott looks terrible. Second game, he looks absolutely unreal. I think he had 37 saves or something like that.
He played a great game against
And then in game 3, back at it again. Here, I'll go back to his stats if you don't mind.
It's the typical Flyers goaltending. You look at game 1, 5 goals on 19 shots, then 1 on 35, and then 5 on 26.
But, Flyers are going to keep one game he doesn't play good, the second game he doesn't play good.
Oh, he's going to play good here today.
Throw him back in.
Oh, my God.
But New Jersey taking one game against Tampa Bay.
It's like the Leafs. I mean, as much as they're in a much different situation, obviously.
I don't like how you just compared us to the
Well,
New
no,
Jersey
it's
Devils.
exactly how the series went, right? We lost both on the road, and then we win our first game at home. Exactly what New Jersey
The crowd
did.
was electric, and Taylor Hall looks, I don't know how many points he has.
I think he's the Hart Trophy winner. I truly believe that
McDavid, I guess, just won it. But him or McKinnon.
Yeah.
Claude Giroux's looks scarce and, here, just go to his stats.
Yeah, he had a 3-point night last time with a +3. Or in the last game.
This is what New Jersey needs.
They need their big guys to step up, because they don't have any big guys.
And Will Butcher, too.
He's been great. He's been great all season, and now in the playoffs, he's turning the corner.
And what did I tell you? I told you in the last podcast, start Schneider over Kincaid, and look what happened.
I know. I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it. I mean, that's why I said they were going to do it because the way Kincaid was playing, and I'm totally happy they went back with Schneider because he deserves it, and he showed them why he's the number one.
And I said they'd be stupid to start Kincaid game 1. They do.
They lose.
They got blown out.
They play game 2 as well, and they lost.
Then
he came in late. I think Corey Schneider. Or
he came in. Yeah,
something like that.
He came in late, and then they start him, and he was unbelievable. So, I said it, and they're going to start him game 4 too. So
why not? Right?
He got
you a win.
Yeah, game 4. Yeah. So
at Colorado, Nashville. The funny thing about this series, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, did you see the PK Subban hit?
Oh,
or elbow on McKinnon?
Yeah. Haven't the Colorado Avalanche scored the first goal in every single game?
I didn't notice that.
They scored in their win. And
I just saw
Blake
Rene's stats.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game. And then you go to the game 2. Colorado scored the first goal of this game, and then we go to game 1, and I think they lost 5-2, but I think they scored the first goal of the game. They scored the first goal of the game in all 3 games.
I didn't know that stat. That's unbelievable.
But they've lost 2 of the 3. Now, they won their first game at home. Again, seems like that's been a trend so far in the playoffs.
Rene hasn't played good. They chased him. 4 goals on 11 shots?
Yeah, he really, really had a rough game.
I mean, UC Saros can perform. He's been a great backup
4 goals on 15.
But Jonathan Bernier has not played good. Yeah, but going in, UC Saros had 18 saves and 0 goals, so there you go.
Right.
But Jonathan Bernier, we'll go to his...
oh, God, I don't even want to look at this guy because he's just a former Leaf, and he's back in the playoffs, for God's sakes. He's been awful. 4 goals on 30 shots, 4 goals on 32 shots, 3 goals on 32 shots.
I said that Nashville would sweep Colorado. You said they win 1. They have won 1.
I expected them to win 1. I didn't expect them to sweep them, but they won 1. And there we go.
But Nathan McKinnon and Landeskog is performing, and Rantanen's always there. But I can't see it.
No, I can't go. I can't see it going anywhere.
And then again, you have UC Saros who
was great. He made 18 saves in the game, kept them in it. And let's go to the series like we talked about a little bit earlier. The lopsided affair.
I'm so
San Jose crushing the Anaheim Ducks. In Game 3, they won 8-1.
Was this at home? Or was this in Anaheim?
No, that was at San Jose. That was at San Jose. And we go to the. I just want to go to the previous games. They went 8-1, 3-0, and 3-2. I mean, the Anaheim Ducks have really showed nothing.
John Gibson has played well this season, but he's. But then again,
Martin Jones is outplaying him.
Do you? I think you start Ryan Miller in game 3.
Oh, I think so. You just lost 8-1. You're down 3-0. You got to shake something up.
Oh, for sure.
So and I think Ryan Miller, the veteran goalie, I think is going to get a look.
I thought the series was going to go to 7 for sure.
I thought
Anaheim was going to pull it out. I did too.
I think we both said that.
It's not over yet.
No,
but
it isn't. It's pretty much close to over.
Yeah, and Washington taking one game in
double
overtime.
The way they lost their first 2 games, blowing 2 goal leads in both games, and then losing in overtime in both games. And in the game last night,
it was a greasy goal. Yeah,
win in double overtime. It doesn't matter. It goes into the back of the net, and that's it. And they win 3-2, so they're back in the series 2-1. But what do you think? They were your dark horse. They were my dark horse, but I don't know.
It's not over yet.
It is.
And Washington has more fight. I still think Washington is going to pull out.
I think it's 7. I think it's going to be 7. It's going to go back to Washington. They're going to win in 7.
I said 6 Washington, but you never know.
They got to go all the way.
I was actually watching the game, and I was texting you this about the Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith Belly. What about him?
Belly. No.
Oh yeah, right. The commentator for Columbus calling him Devontae Smith Belly. I'm not sure why.
I don't know why I find that so funny, but yeah, I was like, excuse me, what? So
and I think it's the last series here that we were going to talk about here is the Winnipeg Minnesota series, and this is over.
Zach Parise out for.
They lost Ryan Suter coming into it. And now they lost Parise. It's done. It's over. Winnipeg's going to win the next one at home, and it's over.
I mean, they are holding their ground because it was pretty much a 1-0 win for Winnipeg. Obviously.
Right, and the funny thing is, both goals were scored in the last minute of periods.
Was it?
The first goal was Mark Scheifele. I think he scored both, actually.
Yeah, he did.
The first goal was 28 seconds left and then 11 seconds left in the empty net.
It's not like Minnesota's actually,
They're not playing bad. But
poop in the bed.
They don't have their best defenseman, Ryan Suter.
And they don't have their best, quote-unquote, best forward in Zach Parise because he's looked good.
Yeah, he's looked very good.
He's looked vintage Zach Parise. So Minnesota's holding their own because Winnipeg is a handful.
They really are.
So
they're strong. They got good goaltending, and they can score a lot.
But the Leafs just have to take care of business. Thomas Buchanan's looking great, and this is what we paid the second rounder for.
I mean, look, and you look at the next game on Thursday, must win. 7 o'clock puck drop at the ACC.
It's actually, they have Boston winning that, and that's kind of...
well, because, whatever, they're always against
but
the
they had
Leafs, that's fine by me. Fine by me. It's odds, and it's barely. Whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to me.
Take care of business, and I'm pretty sure, we're good to go.
Well, yes, we are good to go as we head to the ballpark. The Blue Jays, they're on an absolute tear.
11-5.
11-5, and you take away those 2 losses against the Yankees to start the year, they're 11-3. They're kicking everyone's rear. They just finished up a doubleheader yesterday against the Kansas City Royals. They beat them both times, and both in pretty crazy fashion. They're down 3-2, and they get the big bats going in the 5th and the 6th inning, and they crush the Kansas City Royals 11-3. And then yesterday, being down 3-0 in the 7th, they bring on Justin Grimm, can't throw strikes, and walks the first 3 batters, walks the bases loaded, and then the Jays capitalize. Luke Maley, the mailman, comes out clutch. The mailman comes out clutch and gets the 2-run single to get it to 3-2 game, and then the walk-off win in the 10th inning as the Jays win that one as well. They've won 3 straight. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're 11-5. I mean, we talked earlier about keeping calm. And we still have to because it's still only 16 games into the season. But this is a lot of fun because this team never quits. And I think that's the difference between this team and last year. Last year's team, they always died. They always, after down 2-3 runs, it's over. They're caving in. They're going to swing for the fences, and they're going to strike out of time.
Team, there has been times where we were down a couple runs,
like last night, 3-0 in the 7th, and we are the best team. Oh, I don't know. It could have changed in the later games, but when we scored our runs, we are the best team at scoring runs in the 7th inning or later. We have the most runs in the MLB when it comes to that. Ahead of the Angels, ahead of the Cubs. It's nuts.
It's crazy.
But
Yankees are 8-8.
They lost 9-1 to the Miami Marlins last night.
Stanton,
well, we're going to talk about that in a second here. And Giancarlo Stanton, we'll talk about him in a little bit here.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to stay with the Blue Jays, and it's not just I'll make the reference with the Raptors again. it's not just one guy. It's not just Morales hitting a home run or Donaldson or Bautista, for argument's sake, last year, and Tulowitzki.
Yeah.
Donaldson, Tulowitzki, and Morales are all out of the lineup. They're all in the DL. And this team's kicking everyone's rear end. I understand they're playing the Kansas City Royals, who are coming into the series was 3-10, so not good at all. But you got to take care of business. You got to take care of business.
And we did.
And you look at yesterday, Steve Pearce 3 for 5. He's hitting .316 on the year.
Yeah, that's Steve Pearce. And Justin Smoke's looking...
He had a tough night last night, 0 for 4, but he's hitting all right, 250 average. I mean, again, a 370 on base. I'm not complaining. Solarte was 0 for 5 in the game yesterday, but it was the depth. It's somebody else every single day. Pilar was 2 for 4 yesterday. Diaz was 0 for 3, but he walked twice.
And Brandon Pritchett finding his and
Jays fans, we had to relax. We can't just say...
And that's what you said on the last podcast,
just
too.
Just give the guy some time.
And he'll perform. And then Jays fans are like, oh, we love him. We love him.
And then he hit then he hit a double and a 3-run shot in the first game of the doubleheader. Went 0 for 3 in the last game, but walked once and came around to score.
And last week they were like, oh, who's this bum? Trade him.
Yeah.
Trade him.
No, give the guy some time.
Jeez.
And now he's playing...
patient, right?
He's at least playing a little bit better. And Jays fans are warming up to him. But the big thing for me, Luke Maile, the backup catcher for the Jays. We know him last year. We brought him in off. We claimed him off waivers or whatever.
From what team?
Tampa Bay Rays. And
he has been unreal.
Well, he was awful last year. He couldn't bat. He couldn't get a hit for his life. He batted like 120, 130 all season. He was so bad. And we knew his defense was good. His game calling behind the plate was terrific.
Yeah.
But his bat was iffy. So far this year, he's 2 for 4, or in this game last night, 3 RBIs. He's hitting .421.
He has like 5 home runs.
He has no home runs.
He has no home runs?
No home runs. 7 RBIs. I think he had like 8 all of last season. He's coming up clutch. He scored 4 runs. He's got 3 doubles, get 8 hits in 5 games. He has been great. His approach is simple. And he's doing the job. And you're getting, like, every day to the next, you're seeing one guy. And remember we talked about in the last podcast about Teoscar Hernandez possibly getting a call up?
Yep.
Well, he got the call.
And
he was 0 for 3 in the second game of the doubleheader yesterday. But he has hit .308 since he's been called up, which is very, very good.
Marcus Stroman's looked He's looked
right?
Yeah. Last game he played against Cleveland, he
had a rough night. But, you know what? The way I look at Marcus Stroman, and... I think he only had 2 starts in the spring because of that shoulder inflammation he had early on.
Right.
And you got to look at that Cleveland series. I think he had the first 4 innings. First 3 or 4 innings, he was kind of in trouble. But the last couple innings he was in there,
right.
He retired the last 7 he faced.
Yeah.
So he really found a groove there.
Jaime Garcia.
He had a rough... Well, I wouldn't say he had a rough time yesterday, but he was flirting in and out of danger, but he really limited the damage. And he's had a great start to the season. He's got a couple wins already. Great to see him, continue to get the job done.
How about the starting rotation, though? What do you think would be a nice grade on that? Because they have struggled a little bit.
Yeah, they have struggled, but the Jays are finding ways to win, and that's what good teams find a way to do. You look at Marco Estrada, who had a great first 2 starts, but had a rough last start. I'm not concerned about it. It's one rough start. Garcia, like we said, had a rough one yesterday. Jay Happ had a rough 2 starts, but was terrific in his last start. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run against the Baltimore Orioles, and 9 strikeouts. He was great. And then you look at Aaron Sanchez, who had a very good, obviously a no-hit bid against the Orioles into the 8th inning in the last game, but had 5 walks. That was a big problem in that one, but he was great there.
Question for you. Do you think that how the Jays are performing right now, you say that you're surprised, is that a good thing? Do you,
I think it's a pleasant surprise.
Okay, but is that a good thing, though? Yes,
I think the Jays, they had no expectations coming in, and they're just going out there every day and playing baseball.
Right.
And...
don't worry about what anyone else is saying about, this team's not going to make the playoffs. This team's not going to
just take it game by game. And I think a nice little test for the Jays is after today, they play at 4:07 against Kansas City Royals. And a weird thing about this game, it's not televised. Why is that? Facebook Live.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what's happening today.
Why would they be doing that?
Royals, I don't know why they're doing it.
Wait, so they're not even...
It's not on Sportsnet? It's not on anything?
No, it's not even in the U.S. It's not even on, I don't know, what Fox
Live.
or... Even in the U.S.
I think so. It's a very weird one. I don't know how it's going to go. 4:07 first pitch today as the Jays look for the sweep. It doesn't say it's televised, dude. I know.
That is very weird.
It's very good. It's very, very
This is a makeup game?
No. No, this is a scheduled game.
Because I would think that would be a make.
Yesterday's doubleheader was one of the makeup games from the day before.
Because usually makeup games, some of the time they're televised, others they're not.
Most of them are, though, for the Blue Jays. I've never had one of these before. This is going to be interesting. But after this, they head to New York to take on the Yankees for 4. And
but see, this is why the Yankees, I think, are struggling, because most of them had them winning the AL East.
Yeah, there's no struggle for the Jays right now.
For the Leafs.
So many darn Toronto teams, I know.
They're all doing well, so woohoo!
So used to talking about them.
But
it's great.
But it's going to be a test, like you said, and can we rise to the occasion? And I think we can.
And
the Yankees just lost.
The crazy thing is, actually, and the Jays this year haven't lost a series. They've won every single series they've played in so far.
Or split it.
Well, with the Yankees to start the year, yeah. Yeah, they split that one, and then they won.
Well, we're 11-5, so that's pretty much expected. But expected as in like
the record.
Yeah, the record.
The way you've won every series, you expect to have a decent record,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. But the Jays look for the sweep today. They look for their 4th straight win,
and this would be their first sweep.
Their first sweep of the season.
Yeah.
But they're playing great. Everyone's kind of doing their thing. The camaraderie in the clubhouse is great. And they're just playing great baseball.
We don't need the big guys. We don't need Tulowitzki. Morales has looked.
Well, we already know his holes in his swing is nuts. But having Josh Donaldson back would be nice, because he's a guy that can impact this team in many different ways. Once healthy.
Was it the shoulder inflammation?
Yeah, I think it was shoulder something.
It's a 10-day. Yeah, it's he's on the for 10 days.
Yeah,
for 10 days. So.
But
it's a small taste, but as Toronto fans, we're going to take it
for what it is. It's 11-5 start.
But don't let the Kansas sweep, if it happens, go to your head. They're 3-12. They're not a good team.
No,
they're not a good team, and you just have to take it game by game. And I think we are doing that right now. And
gotta continue to do so
against these scrub teams.
Then you play a team like the Yankees, and you look at the record and say they're a scrub team, but they're really not.
No.
And we'll get to the Yankees in a second real quick here.
Yeah, and this is what the whole thing about Boston Red Sox, record-breaking, or was it Boston?
No, but they 14-2.
Well, they faced a bunch of scrub teams.
Right, but they've won. I think they
did win.
They beat up on the Yankees. They beat the Angels 10-1 last night. The game got postponed against Baltimore, but they were looking for the 4-game sweep there. They beat the Yankees 2-1 in their series. I mean, they're playing really good.
9-1.
Well, in their last 10, they're 14-2 on the season.
Yeah,
they're having a very good start. You look at Jays fans real quick. I mean, we're first place in the wild card, but I mean, you got to expect the Houston Astros to come back to normal. Look, they're 11-7. That's why you say it's the beginning of the year. A team like the Houston Astros.
Who was that pitcher that almost had the perfect game against the Astros? Who was it? It was someone on Texas. The Texas Rangers.
Big Sexy Bartolo Colon. Yeah, that's the nickname for the big man. Big Sexy.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, how's he doing?
Well, I think he's had actually a really, really good start to his season. But there he is there, Big Sexy Bartolo Colon. I mean, he's got 1.45 ERA. Bruh. He's been great. He's been great. Yeah, he had a shutout, or excuse me, he had a no-hitter going on in the 8th inning.
This guy has to be in his 40s.
Of course he is. Big Sexy, 44 years of age. The veteran doesn't stop. I love it. Big Sexy. It's terrific. But so moving on from the Blue Jays a little bit, because I want to talk about the Yankees. Okay. And everyone says, the Yankees are the #1 team. They're going to beat everyone. And
it's 16 games they played.
But the Yankee fans are booing Stanton. But I got to say, Stanton is at under 100 at Yankee Stadium.
But you look at Grichuk and what he looked awful in the first couple games with the Jays. He's gonna Stanton.
It's funny.
He's an all-star. He's gonna rebound.
He won the NL MVP last year.
He's gonna rebound.
I mean, he hasn't had a hit in 3 straight games.
I don't blame Yankee fans because all the hype surrounding this guy and he's performed like this. I don't blame Yankee fans.
Because remember when he had 2 home runs against the Jays in the first game?
Mm-hmm.
He's had 1 since. 1 home run since then. He struck out, and this is the big number, I think. And his batting average is under 200. He's at 197.
Right.
In 16 games, he's got 29 strikeouts.
No, that's bad.
That is insane.
That's like a Chris Davis number.
Oh, God. Yeah, don't even get me going on that big man.
Yeah.
Breaking bats over his knee like
it's nothing. The New York market's harsh. Very, very difficult because, like you go from the Marlins, which is a small market team, the Miami Marlins.
Yep.
to the biggest
The Miami Marlins.
And then you go to the biggest franchise in sports. You can't get
And
much
you go
bigger
from
than the Yankees.
You go from hot all year round Miami to New York, which is snowing
like
and it's
here in
freezing.
Toronto.
So you got to give the guy time. Wait till the summer. He'll be raking.
Give
the
him
baseball.
time. He's gonna come back, no doubt, in my opinion. But I'm not. I'm not happy what they're doing, but I can see why they're doing it because I think we would do the same thing if somebody was surrounding all this hype, and then nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't blame New York fans for doing that whatsoever. Because they were supposed to be They were supposed to be with the Red Sox right now.
It's 16 games into the year for the Yankees.
There's
a lot of games. There's like over, I think there's 130 something odd games to go.
And I'm a Blue Jays fan, but I can see them passing us.
Oh, I mean, well,
I'm just being realistic.
I don't know if Jays
here.
fans expect the Jays to contain what they're doing right now.
And this is what I'm a little bit iffy about because it's a nice surprise.
My
yes,
thing
but
for the
is that a good
Jays
thing?
is when they go on that streak of not being able to win games. How big does it get?
I just don't want them to. If we're in the trade deadline, I don't want us to sell some of our young guys because we are
Byron
doing
Atkins
good.
are not stupid when it comes to trading young guys. They're not.
Okay, but if we have an extremely good record and we're like, okay, we need that one guy to push us over the top.
They won't give up any of their main guys though.
Good, because I'm a little bit afraid that they might, but I have trust in this new front office, and hopefully they don't do that.
And Vladdy and Bobichette is a little bit talking about young guys. They're both hitting over 300. They're in Double-A. They're tearing.
This is in Buffalo.
No, in Double-A, New Hampshire.
Oh, New Hampshire.
They're both hitting over
Keep 'em down
300.
there.
They're playing great baseball down there. They're playing terrific, and the Jays are playing good baseball. So everything's great. And
Toronto sports.
Yeah, for real. Hey, it's
When
fantastic.
was the last time we could say that?
For all three teams?
All three teams. Because last year it was Raptors and Leafs,
Raptors and Leafs.
obviously.
Yeah, the Jays were awful.
And then 2 years ago, the Leafs were awful, and it was Raptors and Jays.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And then the year before, I think it was Leafs and a little bit of the Raptors because they were
Leafs were just.
They were in the rebuild season that year. But hey,
is that it? You want to talk about the Jays?
Well, I mean, there's not really much else to say. It's so early into the season. They're playing
game previews.
I've already done the reviews of these games. They've been playing great baseball. The series of let's quickly preview the Yankee series, I guess. Thursday, Aaron Sanchez versus CC Sabathia. He's not had a good season so far. Estrada versus Sonny Gray. Gray had a great start against the Blue Jays, but other than that, he's been awful. Almost a 7 ERA. Marco Estrada looking to bounce back.
Yeah.
Marcus Stroman versus John Montgomery. And then the finale, Luis Severino versus Jaime Garcia.
Exactly. But you can't look at the standings because it's Toronto versus New York.
It's
a
early
rivalry.
to look at standings anyways.
Well, this is our main rival, I think. New York's would be like brushing us off a little bit or whatever.
Yeah,
but you can't look at the record. It's going to be a dogfight. And then we're playing in New York?
Yeah, for 4 games.
So there you go. But going, you want to start the questions?
Yeah, we can do the questions now. I mean,
One question.
We'll wrap it up a little bit. We have one question. Who's this from again?
This is from Mike.
Mike.
Yeah. Okay. James, can you answer this question? Would the Jays be better, I guess, with the lineup they have now, or with JD, Tulo, and Morales?
Okay, with Morales and Tulo, God no.
You don't think with Tulo?
I don't know, man. You never know what you're going to get from him. You know you're going to get
Morales,
some good defense.
Oh,
God, I can't stand Morales. I mean, we still have him for another year and a half. This year and next year. Oh, God. But Donaldson, you always want him there.
So
he's an athletic guy. He's a great bat. He's got power. He takes his walks. He's great defensively when healthy.
So that
he's clutch. I mean,
so that begs the question: this team right now, or with these guys, or with these three guys in the lineup?
You know, I think that's so hard to say because the team right now is playing so well. But
we don't know if he can keep it up.
If they get on a losing streak, well, yes, I'd want them back.
Exactly.
But for right now, out of anything, I'd like Donaldson back. Yes. Tulo and Morales, I think we're okay. I've loved Diaz. I've loved Solarte. Travis has been good.
But can they keep it up?
Well, and that's remained to be seen. So the game of baseball is not. It's not a marathon. Or no, sorry, it's not. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Exactly. It's not.
And we're great. The first 15 has been great. Or sorry, the first 16 games has been great for the Jays. They got to keep going. Now, will they? We're gonna have to wait and see. Take it one day at a time. All right.
I think that's gonna wrap that.
Yeah, that's gonna wrap that baby up.
Exactly, guys. Send in your questions next week. It's going to be a little bit of a doozy.
Idea. I will keep you guys posted in the video when me and Evan decide to doing the podcast.
Because James is
work all week,
working
so
all.
I don't know what the plan is going to be for that. We'll talk about it. If anything, it'll be uploaded later in a night.
Later in the night, we would probably do the podcast when the Leafs and Raptors aren't playing a playoff game.
If that happens next week, if they're playing every other day.
Which would be either one day, I'd imagine.
I would assume so we might pick that.
Keep you updated on Twitter. Twitter's going to be down low.
In the description below.
Box.
Link to the main channel if you guys have not checked that out.
I don't even know why you're here.
Well, check that out anyways if you guys have not. And Evan and I, I'll talk to you guys tonight as the Jays are the only team in action tonight. As they look to sweep the Kansas City Royals, heading into then head to New York for 4. The Jays look to stay on a roll, though. I mean, this is great.
Can we do it?
I mean, I think so.
Against the Yankees? Well, we'll have to
We're going to have to wait and see. I mean, they did okay in the first 4 games of the season. They lost the first 2, and they came back and won 2. So who knows what's going to happen in New York?
And then with the Raptors, you take care of business in Washington. If you can split the series, going back to Toronto
on Friday night, 8 o'clock.
And then the Leafs are not on the ropes, but they could be. But we're going to have to see.
Thursday, tomorrow night. Leafs and Bruins at the ACC.
All right?
Can't wait. Evan and I will talk to you guys again sometime next week.
Follow us on Twitter. We'll be,
I'll be letting you guys know when
in
the video, especially.
But it's going to be later on. It's in the evening. We're going to be uploading
whichever day it's going to be. It's probably going to be later on in the week. I apologize for this, guys. Hopefully, at some point soon, we'll get back to normal.
Yeah, because usually our regular uploads are...
It would be Tuesday afternoons.
Yeah.
1:30, 2 o'clock-ish in there somewhere.
But for next week, it's going to be 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Possibly even the next week as well.
Really?
Could be on a Thursday. I think I have Thursday off, so we may be doing it then. Okay. But I'm hoping to get back in order at some point. I apologize to you guys for all this stuff. Yeah. But we'll get there eventually. I apologize. And Evan and I will talk to you guys sometime next week.
Sometime next week evening, I guess.
And hopefully about talking some more positive stuff. There's been a lot of positive things going around the Toronto sports over the last, the last week and a bit. We'll talk to you guys then, hoping about more good things to talk about.
Peace.